Everyone, we are going to be going live with Violet today, and she is going to be taking us all the way through her entire journey from entry-level flips and how she got into luxury flips. She's going to be teaching us how we can do it, starting from where we need to make changes in our market and budget and research. And here she is now, and I'm going to be adding her on. I'm super excited. Let's see. There we are. Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, no, you're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited. Ever since I met you at WealthCon, oh my gosh, I've just been wanting to get to know you more. And then after our phone call, it just made me so excited for today because you are just a wealth of knowledge.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And I really, really loved your story. Did you want to start off with telling us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, sure. So my name is Violet Moran, and I'm an investor. I do a lot of luxury rehabs. Mainly, I've been focusing the last couple of years in the Palm Springs area and, the desert area. And so, but at this point, we're expanding to other areas. We're going Orange County. We're going to start, a division in Vegas. So we're just expanding and growing.
Oh, that's amazing. And when did you start this journey?
So I've been on and off in real estate for about 23 years now.
Okay.
Flipping, I went all in 2013 full time. So I've been doing it full time since 2013.
Okay.
Mhm.
And was it always flips, or did you ever do like any other strategies?
I I've done rentals. I've done when I started, I house hacked, like, and that's how I got started. Got a little money, bought the next one. I've done what they call now, what is it? Share pad, or we know when
Oh,
they're
pad
rent
split?
by bedrooms, pad splits. They didn't have a name for them
Okay.
back then. I started doing it that way. I would rent every single bedroom and also the garage, convert the garages, and I would cash flow that way. And this was maybe about, I want to say 20 years ago that I was doing that.
Wow.
Yeah.
And at what point did you switch to luxury?
So luxury, I started doing a little bit 2019, 2020. That's when I started doing luxury. We went all in on luxury. And the reason why we ended up moving into luxury is because we ended up losing on one of the properties and breaking even on two. And it's because of when the pandemic happened, those numbers are really tight. Anything
Yeah.
happens, if you're 40, 50,000 away and then you hold it a little bit longer and then something else breaks and you have maintenance and all that stuff, you lose the profit that you have. And so I started thinking, well, how can we not go through that again? I want to make sure we have enough spread. If anything happens, we're still good. Maybe we don't make the numbers that we originally thought, but we won't be negative, right?
Yeah.
So that was the idea and the motivation to go into luxury.
Okay. I mean, it's funny because I feel like when people think about going into luxury, they think it's more of a risk, but the way you just worded it, it sounded like it's actually giving you more security.
It is and it isn't. So you do have to know what you're doing. What I have
Mm-hmm.
is I've had investor friends that go into luxury, and the problem is if you don't study the finishes and what that luxury market is looking for,
Mm-hmm.
you can make really big mistakes. I've had friends that they literally do the same finishes as a smaller home into a luxury house, and that house will sit there. They need the wow factor, the way the house is finished,
Mm-hmm.
the quality of the craftsmanship, the workmanship is really important. It's a different eye. It's a different audience that you're catering to.
Yeah. And how would you recommend someone what's the best way to learn that?
For me, well, everybody has their own different ways, right? I'm obsessed with Pinterest and what's coming out, and when I go to Pinterest University, and also I am obsessed with luxury market. So in the morning, part of my programming every day, I have to watch at least one or two videos of a luxury home that just went on the market and see what kind of finishes that they're using. But what I'm watching is um, the kinds of properties that I'm looking at are properties that are 20, 30 million kind of properties,
Mhm.
right? I'm not quite there, but I always want to stay ahead of the game, right? In
Yeah.
those properties, they're using the moth walls. Well, I can still put a version of that on my $5 million home,
Right.
right? So I think staying up to date with the finishes is super important. Like, travertine floors, they were out of style. They're coming back, but it's a lighter one. It's a lighter one
Mm-hmm.
that's coming back, and they love it for outdoor areas because it doesn't get hot. And
Mm-hmm.
so just staying with the trends of what's coming.
Okay. And do you have like any favorite designers you want to give a shout out to that you like to specifically follow or that you
Well,
prefer to like to?
not necessarily that I follow. I follow a few different designers, but of course, our designers, do such a great work for us. So Sean Elmore, he's been with us since the inception of, Palm Springs. He was my best hidden secret when I started flipping in Palm Springs
Okay.
because I didn't know the finishes that they use in Palm Springs. So
Mm.
Sean Elmore for sure. And then also our new designer, that we're using for some of our other newer projects is David Rios, which he's fantastic. He's a legend in Palm Springs, and he's really bold with his design, which I am ecstatic about. I love his design. Yeah.
And how did you find them?
So, Sean, I was lucky enough that the wholesaler that sold me the property recommended for me to hire him because he knew I was an investor coming from mainly the LA area,
Mm-hmm.
and he didn't want me to make the mistakes that first flip that we did in Palm Springs. And then, at that time I thought I can do this myself because it's not the first flip that I'm doing, right? But I'm so, so thankful and glad that I decided to hire him
Yeah.
because I would have made a big mistake. That house sold the same day it was listed. It wasn't even on the market for 24 hours.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yes. So that's why I call him my secret weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now, and he lives there, right?
He
Yeah,
does. He
okay.
does.
Do you think it's important to like hire a designer in the area that you're investing, or do you think it's okay to go remote as long as they're keeping up to date?
I guess they can do it as long as they're keeping up to date. But unless you're in the trenches and seeing what's coming and are you have to be engulfed in the community and what exactly is happening, where the trends are going. You
Mm-hmm.
don't want to be last year's trend. You want to be the trend that's coming in, right?
Right.
And so it's really important to stay updated.
Wow. And I know you had mentioned before too, it's like with the what motivated you was the initial flip and that you wanted a wider spread. So what was like kind of your mindset shift when you went from, okay, I'm about to go hop right into my first luxury property, and how did you kind of get over that fear? Because I know that a lot of people kind of get stuck right there.
Exactly that. Studying what it would look like. What does a $5 million property look like?
Mm-hmm.
What would that look like? I looked anything and everywhere. And I'm the type that the way you do your homework is, oh, that house is listed for what I want to list my property for. I'm going to go see what I have to compete with.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then you follow that property and see, oh man, that house went under contract really quick. People really enjoy, that's what they're looking for in this area.
Okay.
Right? So just basically do your homework, and your homework is free.
Yeah.
You can walk into the open houses, you can look on the MLS, you can look on Zillow, you
Mm-hmm.
can look on Redfin, you can see the history when the house went live versus when it sold. How many days on the market? That's really important,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you can tell, oh man, this went and it sold for more, so it probably got a few offers. So just do your homework. I think finishes, and I keep preaching this everywhere, I think finishes are
Mm-hmm.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
Have to see that.
basically do your homework and try to stay ahead of the trend.
Okay. And what was like the biggest shift you made when you were looking into market research versus budget when you transitioned from entry to luxury?
A lot more money.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
in the first ones that I worked on, of course we went over budget. But by then, I had reserves, that was not an issue. And because we were putting the right finishes and doing the right things for the houses, even though I spend more money on the budget, we more than made up for it at the sale. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was a learning curve, like anything. It was a learning curve. I did go over. You don't use, in a 2,000 square feet house, maybe you use one HVAC unit, right? But
Mm-hmm.
now when you're looking at a 4,800 square foot house, you're using 3 units, right? So you have to calculate that. Also, even the way the the AC, the brands are different.
Mm-hmm.
Even, everything is different. You're not going to use the standard stuff that you use on an entry level home in a luxury home. And I think that is the biggest mistake, that when people are transitioning from the smaller flips to the bigger ones, that's the biggest mistake that they make.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even think of that. Different AC brand. I would not
Yes.
have thought of that.
Yes, that owner, that particular market, they know their brands. They know the good stuff. They want to make sure if they're going to pay a premium,
Right.
you have to make sure you're putting in the right stuff.
Yeah, go above and beyond. And
Oh,
what do
hi,
you do
Brenda.
in
Sorry. Yes.
I love Brenda's content. She's awesome.
Right. Me too.
And when you're doing your flips, is there anything that you specifically do to help your flips in particular stand out from the rest? Any?
Yes, we call it the wow factor.
Okay.
We've done things like add cabanas, add day beds, I add floating day beds in the backyard, because remember, we're designing for Palm Springs. So backyards and outdoor living is everything in Palm Springs.
Mm-hmm.
We've added what we call to one of our properties, Mesquite, what we call the sexy shower. So what it was is it's a master bedroom that the shower, you can see it from the bed in the
Mm-hmm.
master bedroom, and it was all glass. So if your partner's taking a shower, you can see them from the bed, right? And so
Oh.
that's why we called it the sexy shower. We
I
add things
love
like
it.
that. Yeah, very different than any other, any other flipper is doing. I actually don't like using the word flipper. I like using the word rehab, because we really reimagine these places.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just get in, get out, let's go. No, we put our heart and soul in. Every house that we design, I and our team, we all feel like, oh my God, this one's the best one yet. If we can keep this one, that's the feeling that I want when we finish a property. If we could have kept it, right? Because it
Yeah.
was so beautiful. Yes.
I love that. That is the
Yeah.
ultimate standard right there.
Yes. Yes.
If
It's a
you want
passion. Yeah.
it.
It's a passion. It's a passion for sure.
And going back to like the first flip you did, what would you recommend someone having in like their reserves budget wise to start out? And then did you raise money for your first luxury flip, or was it all you?
It was
Okay.
all me. The first one, it was all me, but obviously from coming from flipping other properties,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I always suggest with luxury, that's why people are afraid of luxury, because you do have to have reserves or raise funding, whichever, but you have to have extra funding just
Mm-hmm.
in case, things happen and you have to shift. I've had, I think, two properties where we just had a lot of things happen in the construction side of it. We had the contractor, was really scammy and walk away with some of our deposits and our
Mm-hmm.
money. He didn't get all the right permits, and because of that, we held the project a lot longer. We got red tagged because we didn't know that everything wasn't in the plans, and
Mm-hmm.
so and we had to hold on to that property a lot longer. So what I ended up doing is going all in, making it just completely gorgeous and adding really expensive finishes. We added Versace tile in the fireplace. We added Versace tile in the entryway. We just made it amazing, but that's the one that we actually cleared $1 million in one flip. So we went
Wow.
all in, but it paid off for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, people notice those extravagant finishes.
Yes,
Caught
yes,
their
yes.
eye.
And that's what luxury is,
Yeah.
right? If you have that type of money, and this is what we talk about in our meetings with our team. If you're somebody that has that type of money, and usually our buyers come in with cash, if you can go buy anything you want in the market, what is going to make us stand out from the other houses that are at the same price
Mhm.
point? And that is our wow factor that we put into these properties.
I love that. And I love that you mentioned contractors too, because I'm curious, are there certain contractors you want to work with that specialize in luxury? Like, do you have to kind of switch your team members out from like contractors or subcontractors that normally work with entry level versus luxury? Do you see a
Yes,
shift in that?
a very different type of contractor, because even for the drywall has to be, the 5 level smooth type of drywall. You can't have somebody with an entry level home, and you might have really good contractors working on entry-level homes also, and their finishes are decent. You just really have to vet them. I literally went to see their projects. I wanted to see the finished work.
Yeah.
So you have to vet them, because if you spend your money on the wrong contractor, you're going to have to pay a lot of money to fix what was done incorrectly.
Yeah. Okay. And is that what you're looking for when you're looking for like any red flags or
The
maybe something you
finishes.
see finishes? Okay.
Finishes. And then I made this mistake early on. We work with hard money, and we work with draw requests,
Mm-hmm.
and you have the option of having the draw go to the contractor versus come to you. And I made that mistake at the beginning because I just wanted him to do the work. He gets paid by the draw. We're good. We keep going. I learned not to do that, because that particular contractor kept asking for draws for things that he didn't do. Thank goodness that the company flagged him and let me know that he had submitted a $100,000 bill for stuff that he hadn't done. And so I ended up firing him.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And
Yeah,
so your team,
lessons.
what was that?
It's lessons
Yeah.
that you learn along the way. I don't do that anymore. I have the money come to us. We inspect the work. It's done. Then we release the payment.
Yeah. I love that. I'm gonna just write that down.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
that's a really good
Very
tip.
important.
So your team looks different. Is there anybody you added onto your team when you transitioned?
We already had our designer. We just all had to think bigger and better.
Okay.
And we're all educating ourselves constantly. And because I am so passionate about it, even my designer tells me that I really challenge him, right? Because he comes in with and I'm, no, no, I've seen this somewhere, And so we kind of collab in the designs in the property. So he's told me that I challenge him, but he likes it because he gets to grow.
Yeah.
So we had, yeah, it constantly growing, because you can't be the same investor that you are when you're flipping, entry level homes, as the same kind of eye when you're flipping, luxury real estate. And you have to change your perception, and almost it's like you have to think like you're that millionaire that's going to go buy the house. Your mentality has to change, because if not,
Yeah.
you won't give them the finished product that they want. Yeah.
I love that. And if you were to go back and do it all over again, is there anything you would have done differently?
Ah, uh, yes and no. I can say yes because I have made a lot of mistakes. I mean, we haven't been in the industry this long and not made mistakes and learned from them, right? I make mistakes, but I learn from them quickly and we shift. So, to say that I would go back and do some things differently, maybe yes, but not really, because I wouldn't have learned the lesson if that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
So I believe I'm at the place where I need to be, and I believe that things that are going to happen, they're written already. If it was, if I was going to make that mistake, it's written. It was written before I was born. The Lord knows where I'm supposed to be and where I'm going. So I just try not to focus on the mistakes that I've made. We all have those tough days that we wake up and we get punched in the gut a couple times in one day. And by the end of the day, it's like, I quit, I'm going to bed. But the next morning you wake up, okay, here we go again. So that's kind of my attitude about life. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. So if anyone's walking away with anything, you got to walk away with that. Because that's
Right.
amazing.
Just
It's all about
yourself. Keep
mindset.
going. Yeah.
And so I know your team is like very, very important. Is there anything that you saw them have to shift mindset wise as well with you during these projects? And when challenges came, how did you guys kind of keep that positive mindset?
I think it requires, it required me to be a good leader, because if I wasn't the one, explaining and talking and getting them to that next level, or educating myself to be able to educate them to have that same mentality, we tend to run on the sky is falling kind of mentality at times, right? And I think when I'm faced with adversity, that's one of my gifts, that I'm able to retract and, okay, let's look at it this way. Let's do this. Let's shift, right? So I think it's really important, if you have a team, for you to be grounded first, so everybody else can follow.
Okay. I like that too.
Oh,
You're just dropping all the golden nuggets today.
Oh, thank you. It's
And
Hmm.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's just I'm just basing it on what I've learned. I noticed that if we have something happen, I'm freaking out. How can they have any vote of confidence that we're going to be great? And this is part of the process.
Hmm.
If I'm freaking out, right? It's more like, okay, this happened, but this is how we're going to move from this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what projects are you currently working on?
What projects?
Mm-hmm.
We have a few. I think we have 5 under our belt right now, and we're about to close on the 6th one.
Wow.
And
And these are
and
all
the
in Palm Springs?
Right now, yes.
Okay.
Yes, right now, yes. We're looking in Orange County. We were supposed to go into escrow with one of them, but I think, the owner, they've put it on hold. So, but we're looking in Orange County. Uh, but yes, right now they're all not Palm Springs, but Palm Springs, Palm Desert, that desert
Mhm.
area. That's what we're working on right now.
Okay. Well, that's exciting though, expanding out. And how long do you think you're going to be, I guess, researching the market, going to open houses, like looking at all these finishes before you make that jump? Like, how long does it usually take you?
Oh, no. When I said that, I suggest that you do that at the beginning,
Okay.
right? When you're starting. Now, my algorithm on YouTube is insane. So YouTube knows what I want to watch when I'm having my coffee in the morning. And that's what I'm feeding my brain with. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so then you're learning this all remote then for Orange County.
Yes. I do. And then also for example, we're going to go into the Las Vegas luxury market area, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know much about Las Vegas luxury. I know about what I'm doing here. And the little research that I've done, I'm not impressed so much with the finishes. And I'm surprised that those homes are selling at the prices that they're selling. So I feel like if we go into the luxury market in Las Vegas, we have
Mm-hmm.
an unfair advantage because we've done stuff that was a lot bigger and looks a lot better, and the finishes are a lot better than what's selling out there right now.
Wow, okay. And are you going to be hiring a designer who specifically lives in Las Vegas, or are you going to be using the same one that you use for Palm Springs?
I've talked to my designer that we use, Sean, and he's willing to go out to Vegas. And I don't think
Oh,
we're too far off from what we're already doing. We
yeah.
just shift a couple of things for the Vegas audience. But they're basically building the luxury houses in Vegas like they're doing here. But I feel that the quality of the work is not as great as what we have here.
Wow, okay. So you're
Yeah.
going to go in there and just blow everyone's minds on your
God willing,
houses.
right? God willing.
Now, could you take us like kind of in detail through one of your properties from how you found it versus how you like budgeted, how you found the money, and then how where you are at with it today?
Okay, so the way I find properties is either we have great relationships with wholesalers, and reputation is everything. So our wholesalers, I have a reputation that I've never not closed a deal. If I submit an offer and I want a property, I've never not closed a deal to this day. And so
Wow.
because of that, I get priority on what I want. And this is why reputation is everything,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so they give us first dibs. Also, we've made great relationships with brokers, and we've made great relationships with real estate agents.
Mm-hmm.
And the way normally at the beginning it used to be where I put up my liquidity, right, for a down payment, and we do hard money, and hard money brings in the rehab
Mm-hmm.
also. Now, because we want to expand, we want to do 3, 4 times more than what we're doing. We're also we're also fundraising and using funding partners for these deals. So we're doing it both ways.
Okay. And I love that you said so. You said whenever you submit an offer, it always gets accepted, or you always
Well,
close.
no, what happened, it always closes,
Okay.
right? So when somebody brings me a deal, it's usually a serious, if it's within our circle of um of wholesalers or our circle of real estate agents. If they bring me a deal, it's a serious deal, right? And if I want
Okay.
it, they give me first dibs because they know I'm going to close on it versus
Okay.
taking it to someone else that might not have the resources to be able to close it.
Wow. That's incredible. And what kind of advice would you give someone looking to start building up that type of reputation in their area?
Exactly that. When I started in Palm Springs, I remember I got my first flip through a wholesaler, right? And next door, they were having an open house. And I would go to the open houses, introduce myself, give them my business card, and let them know that I'm an investor in the area. If they have anything off market, let me know. I'm your investor. And sure enough, I started getting the phone calls. I started running the deals. And to this day, we still have great relationships with those same real estate agents.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
It's all about networking and keeping in touch, right? Networking is
Yes.
key.
Yes, and then I tell this to a lot of I coach some people on the side. I let them first thing I tell them is post everything. If you're doing your first flip, post everything, the good, the bad, the ugly. Post it. Be transparent. Let people see what you're doing. How are they supposed to know that this is what you're doing if you're not posting?
Yeah.
Right. And then also start friending a lot of the real estate agents in the neighborhood so they can see, oh man, when they do have an off market deal, you're the person that they can bring them to.
Yeah.
I've actually made a lot of friendships through my social media with agents because they bring me deals.
Social media right there
Social media.
for the win.
Yes,
It's
yes.
incredible the reach that we can reach people at nowadays with social media. I mean,
Yes.
I would have never met, well, actually, I would have met you at the conference, but to be able to keep in contact with you and now to be able to do this live and then share with, we have almost 20 people who are live right now, but I think at least like 30 or 40 people have tuned in so far,
Oh,
which is pretty incredible. And
nice.
I know you're building up your social media, and I always see you posting your videos.
Yes, yes. And
And
we collaborate a lot with other people. I feel like, there's enough for everybody to go around. Collaborations is the best thing instead of competing with each other, right? We
yeah,
can help out each other.
100%.
Yeah.
Abundance mindset, right? Goes back to that.
Definitely.
Everything
Yes.
goes back to that, I feel like.
Yes. Yes.
And let me look at right here. I notes. I want to make sure I got everything. But
For Tommy, you're completely true. The power of social media. Yes.
yeah, you got it. And when you're doing all of this, what do you feel like was one of the biggest challenges you faced in the middle of a project?
The time, because I tell my people that I'm coaching, new investors, is the minute you get the keys for the house,
Mm-hmm.
that's the minute. So the way I do it is, what's my payment? It's $10,000 a month for the property. Okay, great. Divide that by 30 days. Every day you waste, if it's 500, $600, pick up a trash can, start throwing $600 away every day. If you have that visual in your head, you move. You have to move. So timing and staying on time it's a challenge because of the different things that come up and put you behind schedule.
Yeah. And when someone's choosing their market, is there anything they specifically should be looking out for? Like, I mean, I know school districts is always a good thing, but is there anything unique to the luxury market when you're doing your market research for choosing an area?
The neighborhood, that in every area there's pockets of neighborhoods. You don't want to be the most expensive house in the neighborhood, right? Because if somebody can pay $3 million for a property that it's basically a 1.5 million neighborhood, they're going to want to go to a neighborhood that they pay $3 million, that it's a $5-6 million neighborhood. So that's very important. You don't want to be flipping a house or rehabbing a house that's like the highest one in that neighborhood. Yeah.
Okay, so the worst house in the best neighborhood still applies to luxury, right?
Definitely. And with luxury, they have more options. They don't need to be in that type of neighborhood.
Yeah.
They can go to a really nice neighborhood, and usually people that have that mindset, they want to be around other people that have more, not less.
I love that. And we do have a question. Let's see. Keisha asked, how do you stay in contact with your network outside of social media?
Oh, we have dinners, we have meetings, I'm a people person, and I really enjoy our network. So we connect. This coming Friday, we're getting together. We're all going out to dinner. We're all doing our thing. If one of us buys a house and is moving in to that house, then we're all there. What can we help? What can we do? So that's the type of connection that we have. Yeah, but stay connected. You know, I don't live in Palm Springs. I live in Whittier, but I go to Palm Springs and we have dinners and we stay connected and we give ourselves updates and what's coming. And
Mm-hmm.
so yes, we do. We stay connected, separate from social media. We also do a lot of not live calls, but FaceTime calls, and we're all in there.
Mm-hmm.
So we stay connected. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, social media is great, but you can't beat that physical connection when you're just
No.
in the room with a great amount of people. It's great vibes, great food.
Yes, yes, yes. Enjoy your time. What, what can you give people that's, you know, it doesn't have a price on it. It's your time, right?
Hmm.
And for me, I'm usually really busy, but we make time for those special moments. And for me, I'm a people person. It fills me up. It recharges me. So it's a great feeling for me.
I love that. It fills your soul. I feel like that's how I always say it.
Yes, yes, yes,
um,
yes.
and when oh my gosh, I just had a really good question and I blanked. Oh no. See some that's why I have to write like I write down bullet points because my mind would it's go blank sometimes. It'll come back to me. Oh my gosh. It was so good. No, come back. It was good. That was a good question. Oh, there it is. What do you think, I guess, is the biggest difference between someone who is in entry level and then someone who makes the jump to luxury? Like, do they have to have a specific type of skill or mindset? I mean, just what's the biggest difference between people who make that shift and people who don't? And in your opinion, can anybody do it? Or no?
Anybody can do it, but it's like everything. It's fear, right? So it doesn't mean that you're not going to be afraid. It just means you're going to do it anyways, right?
Yeah.
So, and the way you can mitigate losses and put measures in place is educating yourself. Be obsessed with it,
Mm-hmm.
because that's kind of when we're in a project. I'm obsessed. I wake up at 3, 4 in the morning, not because I have to, because I want to. I get so excited about the project that I can't wait to wake up fresh minded and not tired, and be researching and sending all my we call it inspiration
Mm-hmm.
photos to the team, right? Because for every house we have a WhatsApp app per house, and then we start
Oh.
sending inspiration and what we're doing on each house. But my team knows that I tend to be a early riser, so they turn on their notifications after whatever time they wake up, because I could be at 4 o'clock in the morning. That's just my personality, and I tell them from the beginning. I said I'm an early riser and I do my best work in the morning, so they're aware. But yeah, I'm obsessed with it. I have a passion about it. So go all in. And that's what I've heard about everybody that has done something that is meaningful to them. They literally become obsessed with what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that is completely the truth. Nobody can beat you at something, you know, unless they're more obsessed than you are.
I love that.
Mhm.
Take a snapshot of that. Of
Right,
everything you
right.
said.
Yeah, yes.
Oh my gosh. I got some. I think some of your team is in here saying, yes, you are an early bird.
I am. There's Jennifer. Yes, Jennifer. I think she's realized that now.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh, I love that. And do you you said you talk to your team every single day?
I try to talk to them every single day, connect in some sort of way. If I've had, some days are really busy days and I can't. If I've had times where it's a couple days and I haven't connected and they're wondering what's going on, and I'm like, I'm sorry, it's just been so crazy with this other thing. But because they're used to me always staying in touch with them.
Okay. And I know we talked about this a little bit on our phone call, and I just want to bring it up as we wrap up. And I know we touched on mindset and market research and everything, but as a woman in this field, what were some like I guess personal challenges you faced, and if there's any advice that you'd want to give to other women looking to get into this field as well?
Yeah, I realized that um, you have to work twice as hard so people respect you, or as a woman in this industry, or you have to be able to be twice as knowledgeable and vocal about your knowledge, because they're automatically going to assume that you don't know what you're talking about. And so we used to laugh with Rick Rick is my project manager. We would have the subs come in, they would go talk to Rick, and Rick would be like, talk to her, she's the boss, she's right there, that little woman, that short little woman, that's her, so, but now it took, when people start working with us initially, it takes them a little bit to get used to it, but then they understand, they get it.
Yeah,
But
you just have to.
men don't have to go in having to prove anything, right? And with women it's different. But the one thing, that's a disadvantage. But the one thing that I do have an advantage of is that I'm Latina. And so I do have flipper friends that are Caucasian, and their pricing that they get is very different than the pricing I get. I actually get better pricing. And we laugh and we tell them that they're getting the gringo prices, right? So that's an advantage. Yeah, we get better pricing.
I love
Yeah,
that. I love that you touched on something that isn't so fair, but then you turned it around and you just found a positive in it as
right,
well. It's like
right.
there's good and bad to each side, and it's not about, everyone faces their own challenges, but it's a matter of what are you going to focus on? Are you going to focus on that people aren't going to look at you the way they want you to, or are
Right,
you just going to accept that and then go and do it anyways?
right.
Or go and find the positive in how maybe people look at you differently. Now you can go find those people and then use it to your advantage.
Yes.
And I love
And
that.
in our team, we use it as a joke, because I'd rather laugh about it. I
Yeah,
don't ever want to focus on, oh, poor me because I'm a woman or this.
yeah.
That's just not in my personality or victimizing of anything.
Hmm.
So yes, this is why I look at, yeah, we have a little bit more work on this end, but it makes up for it on this end. So that's how I look at life.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing
Oh no, you're
that.
very welcome. Very welcome. Thank you for having me. You've been doing these for a while, right?
Oh, I started like towards the beginning of this year, so
Okay.
not too long,
Oh,
but
okay.
yeah, it's been about I think five months now, I think, since I've started.
So let me ask you a question. What made you want to do lives versus a regular podcast like everybody else is doing?
Well, initially I did a live with a friend who was doing this 30-day live challenge.
Oh, okay.
And I really just enjoyed it. Like it kind of was like what you said, it filled my soul. Like I just felt so happy and energized. And then when I kept doing it, every time I talked to someone, it turned out that they wanted to do it live. And so before I knew it, I was booked out like a month. And then because I was only doing like one a week, and every single week I just enjoyed it so much. And then I've thought about, people keep asking me like, am I going to start a podcast? And maybe down the line, but I really love these lives because it's interactive with our audience. Like people can
Right.
come on and ask questions, and podcasts are great and they're valuable, but I just really love that it's not edited, it's real, we're live, so people can just hop in and be part of the conversation rather than just listening to a conversation. And I just felt like it's a little bit different than what a lot of people are doing right now, and it's such a great way to collaborate. And now my audience gets to see you, your audience gets to see me, and it's just, I feel like just a more personal way to get to know each other and to put ourselves out there and also include our audiences in the conversation as well.
That's wonderful. And then also you can clip out the videos out of a live and
Yes.
also, use them as short form also. So it's an incredible idea. I think that that's a really good idea. And, just like you said, interactive with people that are listening. If they have any questions, if we could bring them any value, if you guys have any questions, please ask us. That's what we're here for. We're here to serve,
Yeah.
and, whatever questions we can help out with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
And as we wrap up here, is there I mean, I know people are going to be walking away with so much today, but if you wanted people to walk away with at least one tip, what would it be?
Sometimes, people want to hear, this big old grand thing, but to me, the biggest advice I can give, well, a couple of advices, right? But they're actually really simple. Don't give up, invest in yourself, and even if you're afraid, do it anyways. Those are the things that I live by. And so if I can give you an advice, it's really general in whatever you're doing, but if you don't give up and you do it, even if you're afraid, you will get there. Yeah.
I love that. Thank
Mhm.
you.
Oh, no, you're very welcome.
And I know people can find you on Instagram at this Miss Violet Moran.
Yes.
And are you currently raising private money, or is there anything you want to tell the
Yes.
audience that they can
Yes.
go check that out?
We do raise private money. We're expanding, and so we are looking for funding partners for our projects, and they get to be a part of what we're doing. And we're excited to be opening that door that people can come in and learn in what we do. We add them to, that project, and they can see the process, so they get firsthand in the background to be able to see what we're doing in our projects. But yes, we are raising, I wouldn't call it raising, it's more like partnering up with people for some of our projects. We're excited about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is exciting. And are you accepting debt partners and equity partners, or just one or the other?
Both.
Both. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And where
Yeah.
is the best place that people can find you to reach out if they want to get in contact with
It
you?
would be well, I'm on Instagram, on TikTok, I am on YouTube, but the place, that I call home more out of the social media outlets is usually Instagram. So it's at Miss Violet Moran.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming on. All of this was amazing. So many golden nuggets dropped.
Thank
You
you.
are incredible, and you just, I
Oh,
don't know,
thank
you
you.
fire me up.
Ah,
I'm like, yes,
thank you.
now I
Thank
need
you.
to go
And I
out there.
haven't had my second cup of coffee yet. Imagine if I did.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, let's keep in touch. This was
Yes.
amazing. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you coming on.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Tommy. Thank you for, joining us on this
Yes.
live. Thank you so much. I've seen all your comments and questions. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Thank you, Tommy.
Yes.
Tommy's awesome.
Yes.
All
Have a
right.
good one.
Bye.
Thank you.